Should you let an AI chop up your long videos into short, viral-ready clips? Or keep doing it the old-school way with manual edits in Premiere? In this video, I'm going to compare my usual workflow versus handing that footage over to Vizard to see how much work it actually takes off my plate. Quick background for context. I normally rely on my trusted Rode VideoMic NTG for most of my spoken content, so I stuck with that for this entire comparison test. I also used a separate external recorder, something similar to a Zoom H8, alongside my older Sony a600 camera for this real-world test. This means the test isn't purely about the AI tool in isolation, but how it handles footage from a typical creator setup with two possible post-production routes. Route 1 involves editing everything manually in DaVinci or Premiere, while Route 2 pushes the long video into Vizard's system for auto-editing and content scheduling. Before we dig in too deep, drop a comment right now below and tell me, do you think auto-edits can actually beat a careful human editor? Okay, so why bother investigating a tool like Vizard in the first place? For me, the primary pain points of producing long-form content are finding those genuinely good moments quickly. Then comes the tedious part of trimming those moments into short, highly shareable clips suitable for different platforms. Finally, there's the overhead of scheduling or publishing across multiple platforms without spending hours every single week just on distribution. Vizard's core promise is pretty straightforward. It detects the most viral-looking sections, auto-edits them into ready-to-post shorts, and organizes everything in one place. Sounds neat on paper, but the real test is how well this works when your source footage comes from completely different audio recording devices. To test this, I recorded the exact same long-form talk 3 separate times using my standard gear configuration. The first take used the Rode mic plugged directly into the camera body for simplicity. The second take routed the audio into that external Zoom-like recorder to capture higher fidelity sound waves. And finally, I used only the camera's internal microphone, just to have a third, lower quality audio source for sync reference purposes. I even used a goofy, specially crafted pangram as a sync test, so I could easily spot check the alignment later in post-production. Say it out loud. You'll definitely know when you hear that specific tongue twister when checking the tracks. My first observation was that audio levels and texture vary quite a bit between the camera and the dedicated external recorder. The external recorder delivered notably louder and fuller audio because I was recording at 48 kHz and 24-bit quality. The camera track, while still recording at 48 kHz, was limited to only 16-bit, which creates a perceivable difference in overall depth. Think of the external track as having significantly more room to breathe dynamically when you push the sound. That being said, the camera's built-in track was by no means useless, remaining perfectly fine for mobile-first uploads and casual vlog footage. Then, in a truly funny real-world blunder, the mic's internal battery died midway through one of my crucial takes. This forced a switch to a backup track, creating a low-key, chaotic, but very relatable moment for every solo creator. Moments like that, dealing with multiple devices, charging and formatting SD cards, show that tools helping you recover from messy sessions are incredibly valuable. This is exactly where the Vizard system came into play for the next stage of testing. I fed the system the long-form files, creating one project where the main audio was the external recorder and another based on the camera audio. Vizard's automated editing process then picked out candidate clips based on deep engagement signals it analyzes. These signals included analyzing changes in vocal tone, identifying key punchlines, and recognizing viewer retention patterns from similar successful videos. It successfully produced a set of short clips that were already trimmed, cut precisely on motion, and usually had sensible entry and exit points. The sheer difference in time spent between doing this manually versus letting Vizard handle the heavy lifting is genuinely huge. Manually, you scrub the timeline, find the perfect moment, make that 15 to 60 second cut, and tweak the in-out points until it feels snappy. After that, you still need to add captions, maybe do a quick color and audio pass, and then finally export and queue the post for distribution. With Vizard, a substantial amount of that tedious process is completely automated right out of the gate. It even generates multiple variations per highlight, different aspect ratios, and various text overlay styles to cover all bases. Furthermore, it suggests optimized posting schedules based on your preset platform preferences, saving you research time. You then review all the suggestions, bulk approve what you love, or make those final refinements to the chosen clips. Audio-wise, Vizard performs some very helpful normalization to ensure exported clips land at a consistent perceived loudness level. It is important to note that this is not a miracle worker against heavy external noise or serious electrical hiss, where dedicated tools like Isotope RX still shine. However, for the 80 to 90% of content the average solo creator puts out, Vizard's auto-normalization and light cleanup are more than adequate. In my test, clips sourced from the external recorder sounded slightly richer, while the camera clips were brighter but a bit thinner in tone. Vizard successfully handled both audio sources, matched the output levels automatically, and I didn't have to manually swap audio unless aiming for a studio-level polish. Here is one crucial workflow tip for anyone recording audio externally. Always leave a loud reference track on the camera channel, even if it sounds terrible. I intentionally turned the camera's internal mic way up just to generate that sync scratch track, which makes all syncing much easier. Vizard is designed to align separate video and audio files for you automatically, provided they are clearly labeled and contain that basic sync reference. If you absolutely need more precise control over the sync, you can always perform a manual alignment first in your NLE before sending the synced video to Vizard. Now let's be perfectly real about the current limitations of any platform, because absolutely nothing is entirely perfect. Vizard excels at scaling your content output, but if you need super precise, multi-layered color grading, you still require a proper, full-featured, non-linear editor. Similarly, complex audio restoration or multi-layer audio compositing still demands specialist editing software and plugins. Also, while the auto-scheduling is fantastic, some creators prefer having the absolute full manual control over exact publish times across every platform. If you are obsessed with minute-by-minute timing strategies across 20 different social accounts, a dedicated social management suite still holds value. Compare this to other auto-edit or shortcut tools on the market, where many are cheaper but only output a single one-off clip per upload. Other budget options might lack an integrated content calendar or use primitive clip selection logic based only on basic decibel changes. Then you have tools like Descript and CapCut, which are great for things like transcription editing or vertical templates, but they often lack a truly integrated scheduler. That's where Vizard's powerful combination of smart clip detection, integrated scheduling, and a content calendar really proves its worth for consistent publishing. Circling back to my verdict from the field test, if I'm out vlogging and bouncing around holding the camera, I'm fine plugging the mic into the camera and letting Vizard handle the highlights. However, if I'm in the studio recording longer, higher quality sessions at that superior 24-bit depth, I'll use the external recorder and then mine that richer file for clips. The extra headroom and richness from 24-bit audio provide more room to push dynamics and equalization if you choose to manually polish later on. Here's a practical pro tip. If you ever forget to charge a microphone battery, and yes, I am guilty of this, Vizard's auto selection can sometimes save your session. The tool can still find usable moments before or after the dead spot, allowing you to stitch the remaining good clips together very quickly. It's certainly not a replacement for good charging habits, but it serves as a surprisingly decent safety net against minor tech failures. So, is Vizard a complete waste of money for the solo creator, or is it a solid, worthwhile investment for the future? The answer genuinely depends on what your primary output goal is. If you post sporadically and love total control, it might not be essential for you. If you are aiming for consistent, high-volume output, want to scale across multiple platforms seamlessly, or need to turn one long episode into a week's worth of shorts without hiring help, then it is absolutely worth the cost. For my own use case, I plan to implement it heavily for studio recordings, where I capture long talks and need bite-sized clips derived from that higher quality source. I will still likely handle my quick on-the-go phone vlogs the completely old-fashioned manual way, just for simplicity. If you want to see the actual step-by-step process of syncing external audio with video and feeding it into Vizard for automation, I will make a follow-up video. That tutorial will walk through the precise shortcuts for batch exporting clips from Resolve, if you prefer manual control, or how to let Vizard take the reins when you don't. The bottom line here is that Vizard doesn't replace every single function of a professional editor's entire toolkit. But for creators focused on achieving high-volume, consistent publishing with minimal post-production friction, it is a monumental time saver. It reliably finds those powerful highlight moments that you might otherwise completely miss during a manual review session. It correctly formats those clips specifically for the various platforms you need to target, streamlining your delivery. Crucially, its integrated calendar and scheduling features help you maintain a steady, reliable publishing pipeline without constant manual intervention. Personally, I'm keeping my external recorder handy for those richer studio audio needs, but I am happily letting Vizard handle the heavy clip making and posting grind going forward. Now I want to hear from you. Is this AI shortcut better, the same, or actually worse than sticking strictly to manual editing methods? Let me know your final thoughts right down there in the comments section so we can discuss the trade-offs. If you found any part of this comparison helpful for your own workflow, please tap that like button right now. And if you are new here and want to see more deep dives into creator tools, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next video. I will catch you in the next one, where I'll demonstrate exactly how I sync, export, and push those clips into Vizard's scheduler. Until that time comes, keep creating awesome content and don't forget to practice saying the pangram. 5 quacking zephyrs jolt my wax bed. See you all later in the next upload.